The purpose of any legal system is to provide a systemic, orderly and predictable mechanism for resolving disputes. Now, hence, every establishment that knows its onions strives to have a vibrant legal unit or legal department to at least provide effective and qualitative legal services to protect the interest of the organization. The Department of Petroleum Resources is no exception. It has a legal unit. This time around, it is under the Director's Division, and that is why it is called a unit. However, besides providing effective and qualitative legal advice to the department, what are the other responsibilities of the legal unit in the department? These will be revealed to you after today's tidbits in the world of oil and gas. I'm Sulaiman Alede. Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas NLNG Limited says it will begin to discharge liquefied petroleum gas LPG, better known as cooking gas, to New Oil Jetty NOJ terminal in Lagos. The manager, NLNG Corporate Communications and Public Affairs, Mrs. Sophia Hosfall, made this known in Lagos against the backdrop of marketers' allegations of indiscriminate hike in the price of cooking gas due to the inability of the company to meet up market demands. LPG marketers, under the umbrella of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, had earlier in November raised the alarm over indiscriminate hike in the price of gas by almost 75% within a period of 2 weeks. The association's executive secretary, Mr. Bassi Essien, said the price of 20 metric tons of LPG, which cost between 3.15 and 3.5 million naira, suddenly moved to 4.2 million naira, which according to them is unacceptable. However, Mrs. Hosfall assured consumers that following the conclusion of technical approval processes required, the NLNG will deliver LPG to the Nigerian market via the Stopgap Terminal Port Harcourt and 2 other terminals in Lagos. About 28 billion cubic feet of natural gas and 60 million barrels of condensate fined will largely be channeled to domestic market in order to feed the power sector of the country's economy. This came some months after announcement was made of a significant natural gas and condensate find in the deeper sequence of Obiafu-Obricom fields in oil mining lease OML 61 onshore Niger Delta. The find is by an oil major ENI at the Obiafu 41 about a month after well completion. Production is expected to reach a capacity of about 3 million cubic feet of gas and 3,000 barrels of condensate per day. In a statement by ENI, the Obiafu 41 deep well reached a total depth of 4,374 meters, encountering natural gas and condensate accumulation. The price of oil jumped by as much as 5.4% recently after it emerged that the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries had agreed to reduce output by 1.2 million barrels per day. The oil-producing nations had been expected to agree to a reduction in production at its meeting in Vienna. Reaching a deal proved difficult as sanctions hit Iran refused to comply with the output cuts despite the input of a non-OPEC member, Russia. The stalemate led the oil price to fall. The commodity had previously dropped by 30% from 4-year highs of more than $86 per barrel in October to below $59 at the end of November. However, a second day of talks led to an agreement, providing a boost to the price of Brent crude, which rose to $63.25.
This is a special announcement from the Department of Petroleum Resources. Do not keep petrol in jerrycans inside your rooms. Ensure that it is kept well outside the living environment and away from children. Avoid using your cell phone in petrol filling stations during refueling of your car. It can cause spark and ignite fire. Do not smoke or use naked light where petrol is being stored or sold. Turn off your car engine at filling station when buying fuel in your tank. Avoid filling your generating set with petrol when the engine is still running. Always ensure that the engine is switched off. Ensure that when pouring petrol into a container, it is done in a ventilated area and in safe manner. For more information, visit the nearest DPR office or our website www.dpr.gov.ng.
One of the most important functions of the legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources is to participate and manage on behalf of the Nigeria's oil and gas regulator, the DPR, litigations and adversary proceedings. For an organization whose role is to regulate and monitor one of the most important and complex industries in the country, what are the other remarkable roles of the legal unit?
Most corporate organizations, no matter how small, have a legal unit or department to manage its legal affairs and protect the interests of the organization against any litigation. Hence, a legal department is essential in ensuring that the company or organization properly discharges its business or regulatory responsibilities according to laid down laws. Again, the members of the organization strive to safeguard vigorously their interests in relation to all parties, whether within or outside the organization. The legal unit within any organization is considered to be one of the most important units or divisions within that organization. It is a specialized sector that works jointly with the rest of the organization to achieve its set goals. The legal department or unit of an organization provides legal consultation and advice, as well as review the rules, contracts, and agreements generated by other departments or units. The legal unit in any organization is also responsible for drafting resolutions, letters, memos, and participate in balanced administrative decision-making. The unit is required to offer its legal opinion on issues that are referred to it, in addition to pleading all cases of the organization. The department is equally expected to contribute to the legal awareness and orientation of company staff by coordinating various units or arms of the organization and by utilizing its information sites to the advantage of the body. However, the importance of a legal unit or arm of any organization does not come from being a unit or arm responsible for the implementation of rules and regulations or providing legal advice. Rather, it lies in spreading awareness on the importance of respecting the rules and regulations, which, in other words, is the law. Against this background, the legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources is designed to carry the organization along all these stated objectives. Hence, the mission of the legal unit of the department is to provide effective and quality legal services to protect the interest of the Department of Petroleum Resources. It also helps the department to accomplish its corporate goals. The unit strives to realize this mission by successfully carrying out the following obligations: participate and manage on behalf of the department litigations and adversary proceedings, process claims laid down against the Department of Petroleum Resources and its interests. Others include serving as legal advisor to the department, its divisions, its 7 zonal offices, 32 field offices, and staff. The legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources under the Director's Division also outlines documents and legal instruments such as ordinances, resolutions, contracts, and deeds. The legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources also has tasks and targets to accomplish. These include tasks relating to commercial transactions, where the targets are to negotiate, review, and renew commercial agreements for the department. The unit also has the tasks relating to corporate legal services, which target is to negotiate, review, and complete matters relating to corporate services of the department. In addition, it has the tasks relating to compliance and enforcement of regulations, with the target of attending National Assembly hearings on upstream, downstream, gas, environment, and other petroleum industry-related hearings and committee deliberations. The other task is to respond to requests for information and investigative assistance from law enforcement agencies such as the Nigerian Police, Nigerian Civil Defense, the Economic and Other Financial Crimes Commission, and the Nigerian Navy. Other targets include provision of legal advice and guidance to the department's divisions, zonal offices, and field offices. It also has the target to review the department's regulations and guidelines, which include NDR regulations and guidelines, lease administration and policy guidelines, and asset divestment guidelines. The legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources is also saddled with tasks relating to litigations, and the targets are progressive review and monitoring of outsourced litigations involving DPR. Other targets are attending to witness summons and subpoenas at state and high courts, and also attending to inquests and fatal accidents investigation hearings by the Department of Petroleum Resources. Other tasks of the legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources relate to legal secretarial services. The targets here are to attend and serve as secretary to all departmental top management meetings and management hearings, produce and circulate timely minutes of all the management committees and meetings. Finally, the legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources attends and acts as secretary of ad hoc meetings.
Welcome back. I will now hand you over to Antonia Amusu for a one-on-one interview with a legal advisor to the Department of Petroleum Resources and head of the legal unit, Mr. Joseph Adebola Tolorunshe, for more on the legal unit under the Directors Division.
Hello and welcome to this segment of the program. Today we'll be talking to the Assistant Director and Legal Advisor of the Department of Petroleum Resources and the person of Mr. Joseph Tolorunshe. Mr. Tolorunshe, you're most welcome to this segment of the program.
Thank you very much, madam.
Okay, we want to find out from you, as the legal advisor of the legal branch of the Department of Petroleum Resources, what is the role or the scheme of the legal branch in the operations of DPR?
Thank you very much. The legal branch of the Department of Petroleum Resources plays a very central role in the scheme of things. Most especially, we undertake legal advice to all the divisions in the DPR. But what I mean is that the both upstream and downstream divisions, the account division, the planning division, health and safety division, all of them bring issues to legal department, and we try to advise them to ensure that they are in compliance with the laws and regulations governing the operations of DPR. So by that, the legal department plays a very central role. Apart from this role also, we draft project and operation contracts. By operational contracts, we're talking about most contract that governs operation in the oil and gas industry, especially JOA. We review JOA. We also draft speculative data survey agreement. There are some contracts also that borders on the services rendered to the department. We ensure that there's a contract document documentation that will cover all the services they want to provide to DPR. So in this sense, we ensure that DPR is adequately protected, when it concerns to its relationship to third party.
Given all these functions have aligned about your branch, how big or how adequately staffed are you to handle all these statutory functions of this branch?
Hitherto, we were short-staffed, but thanks to the management, recently with the recent recruitment, we've been able to recruit young graduates who are lawyers, and they have joined the team. So presently, our level of staff, our staff level is quite okay.
Well, no, apart from numbers, what about in terms of capacity?
Well, like I said, we need to build the capacity of the young ones that recently joined us. We are still training them. Most time we give them in-house training on the job, and with time they'll be able to cope. But presently, we have experienced lawyers who can actually deliver very well, and they need to actually mentor the new lawyers that are recruited recently.
The DPR is the regulator in the oil and gas industry. We're talking about legal issues. What are the kind of cases you have had to handle as the advisor at this branch?
The role of DPR is regulatory, and as such, we have adequate powers within the laws and regulations to enforce our standards. Because of that, we don't take people to court. We simply apply our administrative sanctions. But there are occasions where some companies will take DPR to court, especially when their licenses are being revoked. Or when it concerns the downstream operations in the siting of filling stations, you find some community rising up or taking a company to court. Most especially a company that we license to establish a filling station. So you find some kind of pushback from the community. And when we are unable to resolve it, they go to court, and then we go to court also to defend it. So with regard to site suitability of petrol stations, we normally defend DPR in court.
So what would you say are the greatest challenge or challenges you've had to contend with in this branch?
The greatest challenge, I would say, is the mediatory role we play in the dispute between companies or intra-companies. Like I said, because we don't have adequate power within the regulations to enforce our decisions when we are taking a mediatory role, you find out that even when we try to settle the dispute between them, one party may decide to refuse. And when that party refuses, we are handicapped, we cannot do anything. But if we have legal backing that creates a mediatory role for DPR, then we'll be able to enforce such decisions. We'll be able to enforce any decision that come out of our mediatory role.
So what is the branch doing, or what is DPR doing about ensuring that you get this legal backing?
You must have heard of the Petroleum Industry Bill, Petroleum Administration Bill that is pending before the National Assembly. Mediatory role has been provided for under that law. So when the processes are completed, definitely that will give us legal backing.
So if you have your way, what kind of improvement would you like to see within your branch, you being the head and the legal advisor?
I would like improvement in the area of ICT. We really need to upgrade the legal department to be ICT compliant. Some of our functions, I want to see it digitalized. For example, in the contract management enterprise, we need to have a solution to be able to keep tab on our agreements, contract agreements. Also, case management system. Like I told you, some companies take us to court and we have to defend it. We need an ICT approach to the management also. Graciously, the department is moving forward, and in terms of finance, we can't say we are self-sufficient, but the government has tried enough to improve DPR and to fund DPR in the last few years. So with fund available, we'll be able to move forward.
Well, how soon do you think this dream of yours can materialize in DPR at your branch?
In fact, it's one of our tasks for next year. Yeah, one of our targets next year. You know, we hope that next year will be fully digitalized.
Okay. So what would you, in your assessment, what would you say has been the impact of your branch within DPR and in the oil industry generally in the country?
As you can see, recently we've been able to put together all the laws and regulations governing the whole industry. And we've been able to send it to our stakeholders, and the feedback we are getting is enormous. You know, this is one of the impacts we have been able to put in place. Then again, our mediatory role, we have achieved greater strides in the sense that most of the dispute that will have stalled oil and gas production in Nigeria, we're able to resolve it here in-house through the application of the law and also through the application of rules and regulations and guidelines here. So to a large extent, we've been able to forestall a dispute from lingering or a situation whereby they have to go to court and to settle it. No.
Being the regulator in the industry, I wanted you to do a self-assessment of your legal branch compared to some of these multinationals and their legal. Would you say you are on top of the game and you are able to really perform that function as a regulator, even in the legal aspect of it?
Well, we always have interaction with the people, the companies we regulate, and thereby we also interact with their legal officers as well. And I can say when you juxtapose our legal unit with their own, we can match effectively. We can match effectively. I know they are very vast, you know, because they are in a private entity, we're in public sector. But as you can see, DPR has actually, the image of DPR in the last few years has greatly improved. And we have also developed a lot of human capacity. DPR has been able to provide enough training for their staff, including the legal officers. So we can match anywhere in the world. Yeah, because when you even look at the agreement that we reviewed, offer suggestion and opinion to them, which has been very helpful to them. That's
a very positive note to end this interview. We want to really thank you for your views that you have shared with us. We have been talking to Mr. Joseph Tolorun, who is the Assistant Director, Legal Advisor at the Department of Petroleum Resources. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam.
We've come to the end of today's program, which featured the legal unit of the Department of Petroleum Resources. We'll meet again, but next week, for more on the department's efforts to see that Nigeria's petroleum industry works for her population. That's you and I. Thank you and goodbye.